So with that kind of overview, I'm just going to pass it over to the guy who really has the story to tell you, Victor Dover from Dover Coal, that will review the report with you. Thank you.
Bill mentioned briefly that this project came about as a result of a grant from the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development, but that grant is really under the umbrella of a special initiative that HUD and the US EPA and the US DOT joined together to form. It's called their Sustainable Communities Partnership. And they adopted some livability principles that are basic tenets of smart growth. One of them is that we should be in our own local communities, exercising our local sovereignty, determining our own way of doing smart growth. But that grant brought about, as Bill described, a whole series of projects, one of which, I think number 7, right, Sue, is this Charrette exercise for the Capitol Corridor. And I think it's really, really appropriate that became an important and highly visible part of the work of all sorts being done under the grant. Because the corridor, as this drawing shows, is really kind of like the armature around which the future has unfolded and will continue to unfold in this part of the region. It's literally a spine, a backbone holding the different parts of this organic whole together. And for those of you who know the history of that place, it started as a Native American trail, and then it was the old plank road, and then it was the state trunk line road segment of great importance, and became the corridor around which the municipalities grew and placemaking occurred. Also became the place where the great American experiment in suburban sprawl and auto everything took place. And what's happening now is a next stage in that continuing cycle of renewal and evolution. We've been privileged to work as mouthpieces in a way and drawing instruments for you to help pull this vision of the next phase in this evolution into a document. And so the celebration tonight is really reaching a milestone. We've boiled that stuff into, that you all worked on through those thousands of hours, into this not so fat, easily digestible document. And tonight, formally, we get to present this to the Tri-County Regional Planning Commission, and we look forward to your final round of feedback on it as you take it and run with it. What I get to do tonight is show you what's in the book. So I'm going to give you a high-speed briefing about what the content that's in here. Most of it you know. Some of the drawings you saw in their early, more sketchy phase have been replaced with nicer ones. That we've replaced the wrong words with hopefully the better words for describing the things in those pictures, and included the implementation steps, which was our main focus. The livability principles are a starting point. They are basics of how to grow good communities. But past that, everything has been very local about this project. And started with a deep analysis of the existing conditions and a probing through those interviews and one-on-one conversations and those big group meetings about what you wanted it to be. And it's kind of summarized by that quote up there in the corner, let's make the Grand River Corridor grand. It came from one of you. So in the first part of the book, there's a summary of what you find when you go out there and measure and take pictures and see what the character of the place is. It's got a summary of what the specialists in things like transportation analysis found when they went out and gathered information about the corridor. There's an economic analysis. I think you might be interested in seeing that purple map in the lower right-hand corner. Where it gets darker purple, that is job density. And so you immediately begin to realize that the corridor itself is that armature around which the employment in the region is largely hung. To build the plan, we had, as Bill described, that kind of short feedback loop, rapid action public process. It started with an opening meeting in each of the charrettes where we had lots of people come. We divided the large gathering into small groups. The small groups then presented back to the others what they accomplished at their own work tables. And then after that kickoff, in each case, we had a series of technical meetings. around special subjects, housing or energy or transportation, to gather a group of stakeholders and experts around that topic, asked more questions, did some work, brought them back, showed them that, and so forth in a repeating process. The open design studios were places where people could roll up their sleeves and do work in response to all that input, and then have you step in and look over our shoulders, which you did at a couple of really exciting, noisy open house events, getting close to the work. This is the opposite of the old method for designing a master plan, which is for somebody like us to go off by ourselves and do it and then bring it back out at the very end and say, well, isn't this what you wanted? What we've done is instead tried to involve people close up, even really young people, the people who will actually benefit the most from the hard work you put in.